On Medicare now, so I'm allowed to sit. You get up my age. The good thing is you don't have to stand for pictures anymore. You make them come over and crouch down by you. That's what the Medicare card does for you. You just pull that out and say, I don't have to stand for pictures no more. I can sit. I'm over 65 anyway. Great to be here. What a turnout. But then again, I got to tell you, I've done a couple of these sci-fi things, and I'll say this about you all: you're as loyal as wrestling fans.
I'm both.
But you are. I mean, I went to England last year, and it was amazing over there. 10,000 people show up at this thing. I don't know if any of you have been to England, but it was a unique trip for me because I got over there and couldn't understand anyone.
Yeah.
And they allegedly speak English. And I didn't feel bad because I was there with Carl Weathers, and Carl couldn't understand them either. So I thought, we got our bases covered. I'm a white guy, Carl's a black guy, and neither one of us could understand the English guys. We had that, literally, we had to have an interpreter. When we got to this Q&A, we had a woman up there, we would turn to her and she'd tell us, and we'd answer. Because if you've never been to England, it's amazing. It's the size of Georgia, and yet they have 5 different dialogues there, where they all know where they're from. And what's amazing, you think all these years, how could this still be? You know, I mean, sure, we've got southern United States, and us northerners speak different than they do in the south, but that's huge areas. This is the size of Georgia. They know right if somebody's from Liverpool, if somebody's from somewhere, London, they know right where they're from as soon as they talk to them. Now, I was amazed on that. But anyway, getting back to the sci-fi, I found out that you all are just as rabid as wrestling fans, you know. I'm fortunate enough to have dealt in both worlds, I guess. 15 years of wrestling, and I've done a few things in the sci-fi world. I'll say this, probably, believe me, I'm most proud of, everyone's going to think I'm going to say Predator. I'm actually more proud of what I did on the X-Files. Nice. I say that only because that was the hardest dialogue I've ever had to deal with. I mean, there was a couple speeches I didn't even know what I was talking about. You're there, and you have to put it to memory, and I go, I don't know what the shit I'm saying here. But the other thing I'd like to say about that is I actually studied for that part because my son was younger then, and he brought me the Time Life books, and they had a thing on Men in Black in the Time Life books on that. So he gave me the review to be able, and I gotta say this BS they're giving you on these other movies about Men in Black is a bunch of crap. They are not heroes. They don't save the world. They're the opposite. Yeah. If you have an extraterrestrial experience, they show up within a week and try to scare the crap out of you. Yeah. They are not good people, and yet Hollywood has taken them with Tommy Lee Jones and all that and turned them into heroes. Yeah. Well, the actual Men in Black are not heroes. Nobody knows if they're government agents, who the hell they are. You know, but I did do my reading, as you could see, before I took the part. But yeah, my son helped me with that with the Time Life books, because they had a whole chapter on Men in Black and the legend that goes along with them. Because I don't always believe it all, you guys might, but I am still skeptic a little bit. And so I'll call it the legend. That way we cover all the bases. But The Predator, of course, was a great film, you know, and that's sci-fi because we're fighting an alien hunter from another world who comes here and decides he wants to behave like us humans and kill innocent things. We do it all the time, don't we? How do you like these ads this fall in Minnesota where they tell you, get ready for the fall. It's a family thing. Go out and murder animals. Well, you know where I'm at now. I got in trouble when I was governor with all the hunters and fishermen because I came out and said it's not hunting, it's ambushing. It's only hunting if the other side can shoot back. Then you're hunting. Otherwise, you're just ambushing. You're going out, setting up an ambush, the little deer comes in and you blow his shit in the wind. Oh. That was brave. Now I know I have all the hunters. It looks like I'm dead running in Minnesota. But, you know, I've become very much anti-war, anti-killing, anti-all that stuff that they tell you is so wonderful sometimes when you're young. I don't adhere to much of it anymore because I see that a great deal of it is really a waste. And we should all have better conscience and more awareness of our fellow man. You know, I don't know about how you guys feel, but I don't want to live in East Berlin.
No.
Everybody wants this wall built. Do we really want to portray ourselves as East Berlin?
Amen.
Because that's what we're doing. That wall ain't gonna stop nothing. You kidding? All Trump wants it for is so he can put his name on it like a hotel.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yep.
That's the only reason he's so dead set on the thing. He wants his name on it.
Yep.
You know? So, look what I built the wall. It's like I live in Mexico for every winter now. And I've come out and said, you can build a wall 30 feet, I guarantee I'll find a Mexican with a 31-foot ladder. They're very... And why do we want to keep them out? These are wonderful people, ladies and gentlemen. They are also not coming here. They're coming here. I'm going to give you a lesson. They're coming here because of us. This is blowback from our policies in South and Central America over the last 40 years. This is the result. And now we don't want to take ownership of things that we've created. You know, we created this. These people are running for their lives. They're refugees. They're not Mexicans coming up here to get on welfare, like they always tell you. By the way, let me tell you this one, having been governor, people love to talk about welfare. I got news for you, people. Corporate welfare is 10 times larger than social welfare. You want your best example in Minnesota? Take a look at that big Viking stadium of corporate welfare. Millionaire owners play the millionaire players, and we pay for it. By the way, I'm going to finish with this, and we'll do Q&A. We'll talk about what you want to talk about. I was 20 years ahead of my time, Minnesota. Why? Because I'm an independent. I can do that.
Woo! Yeah.
Where was I 20 years ahead of my time? I was trying to legalize cannabis in 2000.
Yeah. Woo!
Where was I 20 years ahead of my time? What else? I told them how to solve school shootings back then. They didn't listen. You know how you do it? Here's how you stop it. When I was trained as a Navy SEAL, we were trained to think like the enemy. Walk in their shoes. All right, if I'm a terrorist, the first target I'm going to hit's going to be a school. Why? Unprotected, no weapons. It will take 20 minutes for anybody to get there. If you do your op good, you could be in and out within the 20 minutes and not even see. These guys are poor operators. If it was SEAL team, we'd be in and out of there in 10. But that's my point. You want what I told them to solve it? Here's how you solve it. You solve it. You got many retired law enforcement people out there. You got plenty of special forces guys that are good with weapons, I being one of them. You hire them as a janitor.
There it is.
They wear 2 hats. The kids don't need to know, only the principal. While they're Bob the janitor, we all went to school, we all knew you janitors, right? Even though, hey, Bob the janitor. You know, as kids, we did at Roosevelt. We knew all our janitors and stuff. You get 2 per school. They wear 2 hats. They're janitors. They do all the work janitors do, but they're also armed and concealed with maybe an ankle holster, maybe, something the kids don't know. Then you have protection in the school.
Yeah.
Only person who needs to know, the principal. Everybody else, oh, that's Bob the janitor. Well, Bob the janitor may be a former Green Beret. Bob the janitor may be a former Marine Recon. Who knows? But rest assured, Bob the janitor knows what the hell he's doing. That's how you solve these problems. Put protection in the school to where the kids don't really know that it's protection. It's not that difficult. It ain't brain surgery, people. You know, it's not. And so, but that, you know, those are some of the things that I brought forward 20 years. Oh, also, your big Viking stadium. I came out 20 years ago and said, let's legalize sports betting. We can pay for the whole thing in 3 years.
Yeah.
Couldn't even get a Democrat or Republican to carry the bill. Couldn't even get one. Now, what's happened? Sports betting's the new... See, it takes them 20 years to get where I was. So when you vote Democrat or Republican, remember that. You're voting for the past. You're not voting for anything in the future, because they can't look that far. They have to worry about their donors and their money people and all that stuff. So bear that in mind. I mean, if they'd have legalized... I brought law enforcement in when I was governor. They told me it's a $2 billion a year, no, I said, I hear it's a $2 billion a year industry in Minnesota. You know, law enforcement looked at me and said, Governor, we think you're light, it's $3 billion. Now, I did my Roosevelt math, and I thought, a bookie gets 10%, right? If you're out there illegally gambling, bookies get 10% carry charge, right? So they win either way on either bet, that's how it works. If the state's the bookie then, and we get a mere 10%, that's $300 million new dollars to the state of Minnesota every year. We could have paid that new stadium off in 4 years, and guess what? The money keeps coming. Then you can use it for other things. By the way, I support the current governor completely. We have a new saying that we hope gets out there. It's called pot for potholes.
There you go. Yeah, that'll work.
Let's legalize and let's take the money and fill all the potholes. I don't think no one would bitch about that. You know, if you got rid of all the potholes, that might be a good deal. Do you know what they're doing now in Colorado because of legalization?
Fixing potholes.
Oh, it's great. If you're a parent there and you're a Colorado resident, have been, and so are your children, guess what? Your kids can go to state college for free.
Wow.
All because of cannabis. Now, that was brilliant. Who's going to vote against that? Your kid can get a degree and have no debt. Can you imagine what the world would be with that alone? That's enough there, people. Legalize.
Legalize it.
Right there. It's ridiculous. And what are we doing in Minnesota? The ship's leaving the harbor and we're standing here on the frickin' dock. That's the other thing. I tried to legalize pot back then. You know? You gotta remember, I'm a product of the 60s, people. And you know what? Now, 2 cities have legalized psilocybin mushrooms.
Wow. Wow.
That's getting out there. What they're finding out is having tremendous effect on post-traumatic stress and on something else with the military. I forget what it is, but it's giving great results. So there's a lot of organic stuff that's better than pharma.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to tell you a personal thing. The reason I'm on board for cannabis like I am is because it changed my life completely. My life was gone. Not mine personally, but the First Lady developed a late in life seizure. My wife was getting seizures twice a week. The First Lady, Terry, please, I may. And thank you. And they put her on 4 different seizure medications here. None of them worked. All had horrible side effects. This is a few years ago. In desperation, my wife and I drove to Colorado. We had friends out there. Now, Colorado's weird. I'll tell you why. You can buy all the rec marijuana you want, but you need a card to get medical.
Yeah, that
Are you like me? I went, what? I mean, I can walk in and buy all the weed I feel like, well, not all, they'll only sell you an ounce or whatever it is, but you can walk in and buy recreationals, okay, but you need a card to get medicinal? Yes. So we had to go out there. We had friends. They took their card when it was the drops under the tongue at first. My wife, that was over 4 years ago. She has not had a seizure since.
Wow. Woo!
But here's the problem in Minnesota, people. Because we're so restrictive, I could get this in Colorado for $30 a month. It cost me $600 a month here for the same thing, because we're so freaking restrictive. If we legalize quote recreational, and by the way, here's my final thing on it, so everyone knows. You know that shit where they tell you, oh, if you legalize it, what will happen with the kids, the children, right? You want to hear the latest stats? Every state that has done recreational legalization has seen children's pot use drop. Less. The exact opposite of what they've told us. And here's why it's happening. Because the commercial pot in Colorado now cannot be sold by the dealers as cheap. They can't keep up with the legal. So therefore, the dealers are not dealing pot no more. It ain't profitable. Well, if you're going to buy it legally, you have to show 2 IDs. One to get in the door and one to get in the room to get the stuff. Well, because you have to show 2 IDs, it's not accessible for children under 18, is it? That's why pot usage is dropping. They don't have access to it when it's legal, it's regulated. Now, they'll still get, because I always go back, I'm from the 60s, are you kidding me? You know, you think you're going to stop pot. You know, it ain't never going away. It's too much of good underground on it. You know, we'll take care of our own, us weed smokers.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I ain't never met no one that smokes pot and starts a fight. I can't say that about alcohol.
Yeah.
In fact, I tell people, shit, pot, give them a joint and a Jimi Hendrix tape, they won't bother you for hours.
Just chill out.
Anyway, though, that's why, I'll tell you why. Because cannabis saved my life. Because if you've ever dealt with seizures, you're helpless. All you can do is comfort the person, hope they don't, choke on their tongue or anything else, and you sit there helpless. And you don't know when they're going to hit or when it happens. It can happen anytime. And cannabis cured my wife. It's gone.
That's awesome.
So I will be an advocate till I die. And they ain't going to tell me different. And besides, one of my best friends told me the problem is there should be no distinction between medical and recreational. The entire plant is medicine. Those that smoke it for the euphoric feeling are doing it for mental health.
Yeah.
And you know who said that? The person who would know more than anybody on this planet, Tommy Chong. Tommy's a friend of mine, and that's what Tommy said. They shouldn't be, the mistake they're making is they shouldn't show any distinction. The entire plant is medical. Because, like I said, the people doing it for the euphoric feeling are doing it for their mental health.
Self-medicate.
And they're having great success with post-traumatic stress and all this from our servicemen that get sent off to fight in these wars that are meaningless. in the end. Anyway, I'm done preaching. I'll take any questions on any subject. I don't shy from nothing. And just, if you will, keep them within the bounds of decency, because there are a few young people in the room, maybe. If they're not, they ought to be. Yes, sir.
So you got gun rights and you got gun control.
Yeah.
And you have all this gun violence.
Yeah.
Outside of your school scenario, what do you think we can do?
Well, here's what needs to be done on the big picture. The first, okay, I believe in the Second Amendment. And why? Here's why. The Second Amendment ain't about hunting and fishing. They keep bringing that up. Back when it was written, if you didn't hunt and fish, you didn't eat. That was a given. The Second Amendment is there because the Brits used to come over here, invade our houses, steal our stuff, and that's why they put it in there, so we would have the ability to defend ourselves against oppressive government. Now you want the government to take away your ability to fight them? Now I've had people say, okay, but how could us with our little guns stand up to the US military, right? Well, I got an answer. We dropped more ordnance in Vietnam than we did in entire European World War II, and all you had over there was a few farmers and rice farmers with AK-47s, and they withstood the onslaught of the entire US military. And they did it for 12 years or whatever it was. So, yes, you can, with just simply a weapon. And also, I don't know if you know this, World War II, Japan was going to invade the United States. You know why they didn't? Because they were smart enough. They said every person has a gun there. We won't be fighting their military, we'll be fighting every human in America. Because as they walk by, we're going to get shot from houses. So the Japanese were smart enough to say, you don't invade America. That's a bad idea. But my point is, we have to do something, right? Here's my, now I'll get to the point. I will give up my guns the day I see my government give up being the largest arms dealer in the world. How dare them say I have to disarm while they sit and sell weapons throughout the world to everybody that eventually gets shot back at us? Because that's what's going to happen to them. Eventually they turn the full circle and they're fired back at us. So when my government ceases to be the biggest arms dealer in the world, then they can come and talk to me about taking mine. But let them lead by example. Stop selling weapons throughout the world. But then if we do that, people, the economy's going to drop. Because they've managed to make us a war economy to where we have to be at war all the time in which to support the economy. Well, if Jessie Ventura runs for president, we're going to fight a new war immediately. And it's not going to be a war like you've seen before. It's going to be a different one. We're going to fight a war to win the environment, climate change, and pollution. There's where the war needs to be fought. Take half the money that goes to the Pentagon, and the Pentagon knows this war needs to be fought too. They're not dumb. Half the money that goes to the Pentagon should go to battle. Because people, I got news for you. If Armageddon comes, it ain't going to be by a supreme being up in the sky. Armageddon's going to happen because we will destroy ourselves. We will be the bringers of any Armageddon. And I believe that. That's why I make the statement today. Religion and man can't both survive. One of them's going to end up going. Because every religion teaches Armageddon, and eventually they're going to lead us to it, because they want to subconsciously to say they're right. Well, I don't buy into that, and I'll battle till my last breath. Anyway, so there you got the Second Amendment. When my government stop selling weapons throughout the world, then they can come and talk to me about me surrendering mine. In a perfect world, yeah, I'd love it. I wish they had a gigantic magnet that could lift them all up and we could destroy them all of them. But the thing here's the thing I can speak to too on what I've seen. You notice that they never bring up Mexico on gun control, never. And yet Mexico has some of the most rigid gun control in the world, and yet they have how many murders down there by guns every year? Thousands. Why? Because it's the old cliche, only the bad guys got them down there. The ones who don't listen to the law anyway. Because Mexico, when I drive there, when you pull across the border into Mexico, there's a big, huge sign that tells you guns, bullets, outlawed, all of it. And if you get caught, you're going right to a Mexican prison. No offense, but I don't think I'd care to spend too many nights in the Mexican prison. But that's what happens down there. So it shows you, even with strict gun control, the bad guys don't follow the law anyway. So all of us have to? Well, we should, but ours is more for our own protection. I'll tell you what, people, since what's been going on here the last 2 years, I have conceal and carry and I don't go anywhere unarmed anymore. Because you don't know when it's going to happen. And like I've told my wife, I'll go down in a blaze of glory. Jessie's going down shooting. Yes, sir. Did I answer the question? Good enough. Well, let them disarm themselves. There you go. There you go. What's that?
Question for you with like Venezuela and then Hong Kong now, and especially when Venezuela went socialism, and now they're starting on the streets, they were disarmed. What's your thoughts with that? And then
well, first of all, let's address socialism. Let's address this big fear we have. Socialism. Whoa. Now I want you to hear my perspective. How dare all the capitalists in this country trash socialism when the fact is the largest thing that we pay our taxes on that takes all our money is being spent on socialism. What am I talking about? The United States military. That's as socialist as you can get. It is pure socialism. Yet we have no problem spending all our money on this socialist program called the U.S. military. It's socialist, people. You're not paid by performance.
That's true.
The guy who pushes paper makes the same money as the Navy SEAL. That's called socialism. Yet we have no problem with it. So what you've got is socialism protecting capitalism. Without the socialism of the military, the capitalism we have would fail. So why is everyone so scared of that word? Why do they panic? Some socialism is good. Medicare socialism, Social Security socialism. You've had it for years. Don't be so frightened of it. It isn't like all of a sudden they're going to take away your... There's a difference between socialism and communism. Socialism still believes in private ownership. Communism doesn't. But socialism does. Don't be so feared of it till you learn about it. Our entire military is socialism. And that's where most of your money goes, to pay for socialism. Now, could you run a military on capitalism? I don't think so. I don't know what would happen. How would you run the military and make it capitalistic? That means the military has to make money to survive, right? That's how capitalism works. Make money to survive. So that means all our military have to be making money. What would they do to get that? Rob banks with their weapons? I don't know. What would they do to make money? get paid more when we send them to war? You know, I don't know. But see, it's easy to send socialists to war. You only pay them a flat rate anyway, whether they're fighting or not. Yeah, that socialism works good, don't it? Our U.S. military does very fine on it.
Why does Venezuela fail, though, I guess I asked.
Why what?
I asked about Venezuela.
Well, Venezuela, what you got there in Venezuela?
That was my question.
Okay, take a look at every country that threatens to nationalize their oil, to where they stop the oil companies from raping and pillaging them, and they decide we're gonna nationalize our oil so the people of our country can profit from our own natural resources. Take a look at the list. Venezuela's our enemy. Why? Because they're attempting to nationalize the oil. See, we kowtow to the corporations. We are run by the corporations here. And big oil wants that oil. That's why Venezuela's our enemy. Same thing for Gaddafi. Same thing with Saddam Hussein. They all threatened to get off the US petrodollar. The minute you threaten that, the United States will attack you without any qualms about it. Look at history. I'm not barking up a tree here. Every one of these countries we've attacked, and every one of them has threatened to go off the oil dollar. And that's why we do it. We are being run by big corporate, and you know what that's the definition of, people? I've been saying it, it's called fascism. That is the very definition of fascism. That's who's, that's what you got. So to answer his question, next question. Yes, sir.
When do we get Predator Governor's
Fire
Edition?
one first, then I'll come to you.
When do we get Predator Governor's Edition?
Governor's edition.
I don't think they'd let me in to edit one. That would be my best answer, I'd have to tell you. I kind of don't think they'd let me in there with the editing scissors or whatever. Because, I did Demo Man with Sly Stallone, and I have a big knockdown fight with him where he kills me, he has to shoot me to kill me in the end. None of it made it to the film. I think Sly wanted to kill me with his bare hands and stuff. They weren't good enough, they just shot me and killed me. By the way, I do get hired for that. Joe Silver, the producer on Predator, I've done multiple films with Joel, and he told me, you know why I hire you? I said, why? He said, you die good. Boy, I'll tell you, that's a hell of a compliment. You die good. Because every film I do for him, I die in it. So, what the hell are you going to do? At least you get done working sooner than. Anyway, next questions. I'm in a good mood today, yeah.
Hi, Mr. Ventura. First of all, big fan of your work on Predator and the Running Man. I had a question. How did you feel during the time when, near the end of the Running Man, when they basically, how you could say, redid the work where you thought where they basically had you kill Arnold Schwarzenegger in there? I mean, do you think it was?
No, what happened in Running Man is I killed him, but I killed him computer generated.
Yeah, I know.
So it went out. That was like fake news. That
Yep.
was fake news. That was fake news before fake news.
It's ahead of its time.
Yeah, because what they did, they pumped that out, but then they actually shot two endings. And they didn't use one, naturally. The second ending was, right at the end, when you see Arnold and Maria Conchita, you then saw me drop in and I got Arnold dead. He's dead. Then all of a sudden I turn the gun and I shoot one of the bad guys. Arnold, I, and the girl walk out together. Because Captain Freedom realized this guy's got honor no matter what. And honor prevails to me. Because remember when I gave that speech? This is a sport of honor.
Honor, yeah.
Well, see, that was part of the character. Captain Freedom was this throwback. He was football players from the old days. Like that thing, you'd look at it. And so he saw Arnold in the end as being him. And that's why they shot an ending which would have been great for a sequel. So obviously they weren't doing a sequel. Because they shot both endings, and the ending you got, I thought, was not good. I think the other one would have been way better.
Yeah.
And plus it kind of, and I know I'm being a little selfish here, But the freedom character got just left in the breeze. You know, after I killed Arnold, he wasn't resolved. No one ever knew what happened to Captain Freedom. But it was fun, I'll tell you this behind the scenes. You know when I do the exercise thing and throw my head? Do you know who I got to work with? And she wasn't even famous yet. The choreographer I got to work with that day, top to bottom, Paula Abdul. This was before Paula was famous. She was at the time just doing choreography and all that stuff. And today I look back and I think, my God, because I remember she came up to me, and she's a cute little girl, you know. She comes up to me and she looks at me, and you know, I was big and right out of wrestling. And she goes, "What can you do?"